alongside of his 5 sons, took up arms against a certain Bacchides and slew him with daggers. Bacchides was the local authority placed there by King Antiochus, and these 6 men, fearing the retribution of the king, fled into the mountains and hid. But when they saw the hunger of the Jewish people for revolt, they came down from the mountains and made war against Antiochus's generals. Josephus goes on to write that Mattathias, alongside of his 5 sons, had a successful campaign against Antiochus's generals. They managed to drive Antiochus's forces out of Judea. The Jewish people, happy and grateful for their victory, made Mattathias ruler. And so began the Hasmonean dynasty, which can be credited both for winning and losing the freedom of its own people. This is the story of just a few of those men. Some are heroes, others are villains. The rule passed from Mattathias to Judas, who along with his brother John was slain by Antiochus's forces. Mattathias' 3rd son, Jonathan, high priest from BC 152 to 143, came to power. He too was captured and killed by a certain Trypho, who was guardian to Antiochus's son. The 4th brother, named Simeon, became ruler of his people. Simeon had great success in his campaigns against Antiochus and was made high priest from BC 143 to 134. But he was eventually slain by his son-in-law, Ptolemy. Simeon's son, John Hyrcanus, became high priest from BC 135 to 105. John laid siege on Ptolemy at the high cost of his mother and brothers, who were being held hostage and who were eventually killed by Ptolemy. John would go on to have many successes and retain the title of both high priest and governor of his nation. John Hyrcanus was succeeded by his son Aristobulus, who crowned himself king. Aristobulus killed both his mother and his beloved brother Antigonus, who he saw as threats to his rule. But when Aristobulus discovered that he had killed his beloved brother Antigonus over false claims that Antigonus was somehow a threat to his rule, he too fell over dead in remorse. Aristobulus ruled less than 1 year. A 3rd brother named Alexander was made ruler of his people. Jewish independence would eventually begin its lengthy death throes with a feud between 2 brothers, Hyrcanus II and Aristobulus II. Hyrcanus was heir to the high priesthood, but he was weak, and eventually his brother supplanted him and drove him from Jerusalem. However, he was later convinced by a certain Antipater, an Idumean, that the Jewish authority could be his again. Hyrcanus decided to reclaim his throne. Aristobulus was the ruling high priest, and Hyrcanus claimed that by birthright the position was his. All the while, many of the Jewish populace wanted neither of the brothers. What they wanted was some form of stability to be restored. This was the perfect storm. This was the perfect opportunity that Rome needed to enter the land of Palestine and settle this dispute. When the famed Roman general Pompey arrived in Damascus in the year BC 63, he found no less than 3 Jewish delegations vying for his favor. Hyrcanus had a delegation, Aristobulus had a delegation, and then there was a delegation from the Jewish people. The Jewish people who were fed up with the civil war between the 2 brothers. This 3rd delegation requested of Pompey that he put down any form of Jewish royal rule in Judea. This would spell the beginning of the end for the Hasmonean dynasty.